started with the first competition. Before that happens, I do want to say at 4:30, so like 15 minutes from now, there will be a peace workshop happening down there. And then at 4:45, there's an obstacle course down there as well. So once you fun kids are done with your music playing and your singing, you can go to an obstacle course. And it's super duper fun, and you should go do it. So yeah, 4:30 peace workshop, 4:45 obstacle course, and then after the music competition for the 8 to 12-year-olds, we will actually be having a music performance by Drapes. So first, I would like to call up Riley Hibden, who will be singing for us.
Test, test. They say, oh my God, I see the way you shine. Take my hand, my dear, and place them both in mine.
Stockton. Next up, we will have Olivia Fiala, who will be singing and playing the harmonica.
Light a candle for peace, light a candle for love, light a candle that shines all the way around the world. Light a candle for me, light a candle for you. Let our wish for world peace will one day come true.
So that is it for our 8 through 12. So judges, do your little judgy thing. So up next, we have a trio, who's in the, they're in the older group. The rest of the older group will be performing later, but they're performing now. So it's Stockton Stivers, Hayden Westfall, and Cooper Westfall. So if you guys want to come up here and get set up, and then we'll have you play in just a second.
I'm Hayden Westfall. I play bass.
I'm Cooper Russell, I play guitar.
I'm Stockton. I play the banjo. Heading down south to the land of mines. On my way down North Carolina. Staring at the road, pray to God I see headlights. One country where it keeps getting me down. Lost my mind in playing poker, so I had really time. 'Cause I ain't turning back. Living that old life no more.
Oh, rock me, mama, like a wagon wheel.
Rock me, mama, any way you feel.
Hey, mama, rock me.
God's like running from the cold up in your ring. I was born to be a fiddler in an old town dream. The baby plays the guitar, kick the banjo down. No country where it keeps getting me now. Lost my mind and played poker, so I had to leave town. But I ain't turning back, living that old life no more. Rock me, mama, like a wagon wheel. Rock me, mama, any way you feel. Hey, mama, rock me. Rock me, mama, like a wind and rain. Rock me, mama, like a southbound train. Hey, mama, rock me. Down yesterday, but I'm in love and I don't know what else to say. Thank you, Lord, for that sundress on that Saturday. Walking barefoot down the beach. Smell the rain up in the air, smell the flowers in my hair, and I swear on my life. Need a joke, I'll be there. Need a smoke, you take my spare. I always thought you were far behind. What do you say? 26 Get married just for kicks and move out to Alaska way up there. Get a job stacking bricks. Stay home with the kids now. Bring the bacon back home to your girl. Making the best of this world. Get married just for kicks' sake. Move out to Alaska way up there. Get a job stacking bricks. Stay home with the kids now. Bring the bacon back home to your girl. Being the best of this world.
Competition, we will be having a few speakers. So first we're going to have Chris with logging on national forests. Then we're going to have Lane Goldman with solar farms in Kentucky, and John Carlton with preserving our heritage. So if Chris Coronis, I'm so sorry if I said that wrong, could come up. Yes, and we're going to have her talk about logging on national forests.
Thank you, Ella. Hey, how's everyone doing? Awesome. Can you hear me a little better? Oh, right. Hopefully not too loud. Wow, that was a great. Thank you guys so much for that, bringing that energy. And I just want to talk to you a little bit about some of the work that Kentucky Heartwood does. My name's Chris, and I'm the Ecosystem Defense Coordinator. My work revolves around being a detective for the forest. There's crimes happening all the time on the forest no one knows about if groups like Kentucky Heartwood didn't do our work. And so we investigate what's actually going on in the public forests, on national forests, and try to protect as much trees from being logged as possible. So there's lots of incredible old growth forests that's incredibly rare in the East Coast, and it's in our forest here. And we've done a lot of really good work, particularly in the Redwood Ranger District, as well as many others in the past, but currently in the Redwood Ranger District, we have this incredible forest there that protects endangered species in the streams. The Kentucky arrow darter is the endangered species. And there's this beautiful red hickory tree that we love telling people about. It's it's the tallest hickory tree in the world, and it's in this really old forest that's slated to be logged. And that's actually not legal to do because it's so old. The Forest Service protects it, but they overlook this forest because they've done poor measurements, and we've gotten experts in to confirm that this is a really old forest that needs to be protected, to protect the species and also for our climate and all the other benefits we get from forests. So despite showing them the evidence that otherwise this is a really old forest that needs protected, the Forest Service continues to ignore all the evidence. So we're now taking them to court and suing them in federal court over it. And this is really important because there's just hundreds of acres out there that otherwise would get cut by logging. And it's in everyone's best interest to protect these forests. So we'll continue to try to do that work for all the amazing plants and trees that are out there, and to try to protect as much as possible. Thank you guys for your time.
Fantastic. Now can you please have Lane Boltman with Solar Farms in Kentucky?
Hi everyone, my name is Lane Boltman. I'm Executive Director of the Kentucky Conservation Committee, and KCC helps lobby for the environment. We help citizens be effective advocates for their issues, and we also help organizations. Kentucky Heartwood's one of our strategic partners, and we help citizens who want to do lobby days. We watch the state agencies for new policies coming down the road and try to keep all of our environmental community informed about those. Some of the topics that are coming up lately is electric car charging, how we deal with that, where the chargers need to go as we build out that infrastructure. There's a new conversation happening about nuclear that's happening at the state agency, so I'm trying to keep a close ear to that right now. But over the last couple of years, one of the issues that's been a pretty big one has been a rush to bring in large-scale solar farms into the state. Now, in some communities, they're welcoming these. In other communities, they're really concerned about them because of the impacts to farmland. So what we've been trying to do is going out to all these communities, give them information or help dispel misinformation that happens during the dialogue. We've heard a lot of interesting things come up. We've had citizens say, oh my God, I've heard on the internet that these large solar farms are going to contaminate all our water table, or they're all going to catch fire and we won't have a way to put them out, or some things that are just big urban myths, but there are genuine concerns that communities may want to have about solar farms as well. Will it break up our family farms? Will it take up all our acreage? And so these are valid discussions that need to happen. We don't really take a side one way or the other between the clean energy argument and the farmland argument, because we have constituents that care about both. But what we try to do is help people work through the issues. So if you're not familiar with where this stands right now, Kentucky has proposals for over 30 large-scale solar farms in the state, and they're all across the state, 22 different counties, over 20 new corporations that have come in to either build solar farms or help with the process of solar farms. Now, I would like to see more rooftop solar, more community solar, and smaller scale. But where we're at with climate change right now, things need to move quickly, and they are moving quickly. So to get clean power online, it's a discussion that needs to happen. So merchant solar is basically a large-scale solar farm that's selling power on the open market. So it may or may not power Kentucky, even though they're using a Kentucky farm. It'll go on the open grid into a market. And we support more clean energy, but we want to see it done responsibly. So if you go to our table, we've got a whole booklet on best practices that we put together for communities that have these coming into their areas. We'll also have a whole list of all the projects that are active right now. And this is a good time to learn more, because there's kind of a pause on the projects. Even though about 30 projects have been filed, there's been so much activity in the transmission market that they've had to put a pause on where the process is at the moment. They can't deal with the big influx of these projects. So it's a good time for the communities to kind of step back, catch their breath, learn more about the technology, see if it's really right for them or not. But I went and did some math last night on the projects that I know are still waiting in the queue. And just for my own curiosity, I asked myself, well, how many of these projects are there as far as megawatts? and how much land is actually involved so far as to what's proposed, and what's the impact. So when I did the math on projects that I know were filed or talked about that sound like they're actually going to happen, the projects totaled about 4,200 megawatts of power and are reported to involve about 30,000 acres of land. So this is a really important discussion that everyone needs to have. This seems like a lot of land. It's probably not large in the scheme of things with all the farmland. It's about 0.5%. But if you have a lot of these in your community, you might want to think about the concentration of them. And the amount of power, the upside of these things, the amount of power is almost half of the remaining power for coal-fired power in Kentucky. There's about 10,000 megawatts of coal-fired power still in Kentucky. And so if all of these solar farms came online, it could help supplement, well, it wouldn't be exactly half. By the numbers, it's half, but you have to have a little more solar power on the grid just because of how it operates. You have to store it, and you lose some power in the transmission and then the storage. So, but it might replace as much as a third of all the coal power online. And if you're dealing with these 100-degree days, as we've been dealing with, you have to look at it and see if it's right for your community. So what I want to do is leave you all with information. We have, if you go to a table, we'll have a guide on community information. It's the basics that everybody needs to know if these farms are in your community or coming to your community. We also have information from American Farmland Trust. We help put that together with them. They've talked to farmers. They've gone out to see what the pros and cons are, and they've summarized that in a one-pager for us. And then, something to think about. We now have, as of this week, once it's voted on, a proposal for a new climate deal. So that will hopefully help the more rapid transition to clean energy. We want people to advocate for clean energy, but the practices we want you to advocate for are, when possible, avoid land identified by the Natural Resources Conservation Service as prime farmland or farmland of statewide importance. We'd like to see these farms go on previously developed land or previously disturbed land like mountaintop mine sites. There are some proposals like that. When these projects are accepted in the community, we want to make sure that they also think about what's called dual use, where you're doing some farming alongside or pollinator plantings along with the panels. And we want to make sure that pathways for animals are minimized if there's disruptions, so that the fencing around these projects are corridor friendly for wildlife corridors. And we want to make sure the social justice issues are addressed. So the community needs to be engaged really early at the forefront before a project ever breaks ground. Make sure it's not being put in areas that are impacted communities already, that the community has a say in how they're executed. So I just wanted to leave you that information. Go to our table, and we will have all this for you if you want to see where the projects are, what are the best practices, and any other things we can share with you so that farmers and solar can work together to get us clean energy and protect farmland. Thank you. Oh yeah, and we'll have a workshop right now. Okay. All right.
And now John Carlton, and then we will have our music competition.
All right, good evening, everyone. My name is John Carlton. I'm a mostly lifelong Frankfurt resident, local historian, preservationist, and the organizer of Frankfurt Heritage Week. I'm also the immediate past president of Franklin County Trust for Historic Preservation, participate with Envision Franklin County, and I'm on the Franklin County Comprehensive Plan Advisory Committee. I just wanted to share some things with you all about historic preservation. It may have been true in the past that preservationists were just a bunch of people wanting to keep things the way they remembered them as they grew up. Today, that's no longer true. Today's preservationists have a larger understanding and set of goals bolstered by efforts internationally, federally, and state, with many nonprofits, Main Street organizations, chambers of commerce, and yes, even environmental groups. For instance, did you know that an average building in the historic district of Raleigh, North Carolina gets demolished instead of preserved, produces 62.5 tons of waste for the landfill. That's as much waste as one person produces in 79 and a half years. When the embodied energy of that building is combined with the energy it takes to raise and then haul the materials to a landfill, the demolition of that building has the same environmental impact as throwing away 15,285 gallons of gasoline. Historic preservation is environmental sustainability, and therefore it's also environmental protection and conservation of natural resources. So it is that larger understanding of historic preservation that is now the cause of so many of us. Chris invited me here to talk about what is being done to advance historic preservation in Frankfort and Franklin County. And so since we're time limited, I'm going to just kind of read off a list as fast as possible now that we're very behind. So we identified 11 new historic and archaeological sites on Fort Hill, 7 of which were recommended to be listed on the National Register of Historic Places, which has significantly impacted our understanding and interpretation of the site and led to the creation of the new Supervisor of Museum and Historic Sites position at the Capital City Museum and City Parks. That work also led to more preservation efforts at the waterworks at Cove Spring, new highway markers, new exhibits at the museum, and more. We created the first Historic Preservation Officer position at the City of Frankfort. Since then, the first year had 0 denials by the Architectural Review Board. We have updated historic district guidelines, performed a historic context report on Frankfort's African American history, held preservation training for the city's planning staff, and just received a federal grant from the National Park Service to perform an economic impact study on the impact of historic preservation on the community to better use that information on guiding future policy. The African American Context Report, according to the Heritage Council, is expected to be a model for other communities in the Commonwealth seeking to research their African American history. In January 2020, we received 3 international awards from a Germany-based historic bridge website for our 5 historic truss bridges, which garnered international attention based on a submission I wrote. We have so far successfully preserved the Broadway Street pedestrian bridge, which the General Assembly just awarded over $4 million in funding, which was our asking price. In May of 2021, we held our first Frankfort Heritage Week, a week focused on celebrating historic preservation in our community's unique history. This effort required a coalition of over 20 state, local agencies, nonprofits, and businesses, and is receiving both state and national attention from the Heritage Council and National Park Service and other communities. Our current efforts are to raise awareness of historic preservation, to educate the public on Frankfort and Franklin County's history, the intersectionality of preservation and environmental sustainability, historic preservation's tremendous economic benefits, and the benefits to our community's quality of life. To promote effective preservation policies in both the city and county. The county currently has 0 historic preservation policies. To establish preservation policies in both rural and agricultural areas of the county. To restart a downtown Kentucky Main Street program for economic development and revitalization of downtown. To develop a program with the city, county, the Frankfort Area Chamber of Commerce, along with several banks and nonprofits to provide various financial incentives for private developers and property owners to invest in historic preservation activities. To promote local culture, which includes the bourbon industry, our local breweries, physical and leisure activities in historic and national scenic areas, such as Fort Hill, Cove Spring, the Elkhorn Creek, and Kentucky Rivers, local restaurants, local museums, and historic and natural sites, to develop a comprehensive and collaborative heritage tourism strategy and plan that involves all of our heritage tourism assets, including distilleries, breweries, museum, parks, businesses, and more. To survey more cultural resources countywide to get a better understanding of county history, to designate more resources on the National Register of Historic Places, and designate more places for protection. to establish new historic districts in both the city and county, including Bridgeport, Peaks Mill proper, Holmes Street, Bell Point, Montrose Park, Tanglewood, and more, which will provide those residents with various tax incentives and financial resources for improving their homes, and to implement important historic preservation and natural conservation goals and policies comprehensively in both urban and rural environments in the Frankfort-Franklin County Comprehensive Plan currently under development and the upcoming zoning rewrite. So that's just a quick overview of preservation efforts in our community. If you'd like to contribute to any of these or similar efforts, please donate or get involved in any of several organizations, including the Franklin County Trust for Historic Preservation, Envision Franklin County, Frankfort Heritage Week, the Capital City Museum, the museum's Wilkinson Society, the Kentucky Historical Society, the Frankfort-Franklin County Tourism Commission, Bluegrass Land Conservancy, Woods and Waters Land Trust, the Kentucky Resources Council, and more. Thank you very much.
Okay, awesome. Now we'll be starting our music festival, or our kids competition, 13 through 18. And we will start with our first participant, Saisei Kamayama, who will be playing the piano. Awesome, thank you so much, Saisei. Next up, we are going to have Joey Webb, and Ryan Browning is on deck, so if you want to come over here. But before Joey plays, I would like to announce at 6:30, which is in just a little bit, we have our kids' talent show down there. So if you have a little kid who wants to do their talent, you can go on down there and have a great time. But for now, we have Joey Webb.
So the first name of the song, or the name of the song I'm first playing is called Snowdrops. I heard it from this dude called Jimmy McCown down in Eastern Kentucky, and it was one of my favorites from day one, so I decided that it's one of my favorites to play, so. The second song I'm going to play is called Outer Red. I learned it from Kevin Howard in the same place, so here it is.
Okay, next up we have Ryan, who will be singing for us, and on deck we have Mona Scarla.
Killing me softly with his song, telling my whole life with his words, killing me softly with his song. I heard he sang a good song. I heard he had a star. And so I came to see him and listen for a while. And there he was, this young boy, a stranger to my eyes, drumming my pain with his fingers, singing my life with his words, killing me softly with his song, killing me softly with his song, telling my whole life with his words, killing me softly. With his song. his words killing me softly with his song. He was strumming my bass, he was singing my life, killing me softly with his song, killing me softly with his song, telling my whole life with his words, killing me softly with his song.
Thank you, Ryan. Okay, now we have Meniscarla, and on deck we have Easton Timberk. And Menis will be playing the saxophone or keyboard. you so much, Manas. Before we have our next contestant, I do want to remind everyone about the Children's Talent Show. It's happening right now, so you know if your child has a talent, go do it. Okay, now we have Jimmy Webb, and on deck we have Easton Timbrook. Thank you, Easton. Now we will have Jimmy Webb, and after Jimmy, we will have Anuli Martinez.
Hey, I'm Jimmy Webb, and the first song I'm going to be playing is Indian the Woodchuck by Ed Haley. The next song me and Joe are going to play is My Old Kentucky Home. We had to play it a lot, we've had to play it a lot at shows and stuff, and you know, it's a real good one, so.
song for my old Kentucky home, for my old Kentucky home, far away. Oh, the young folk who roll on the little cabin floor, all merry, all happy and bright. By and by, hard times come a-knocking at the door, for my old Kentucky home, good night. Weep no more, my lady, oh, weep no more today. We will sing one song for my old Kentucky home, for my old Kentucky home, good night. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Jimmy and Jelly. Next up we have Eli Martinez, and on deck we have Aya.
Some people live for the fortune. Some people live just for the fame. Some people live for the power, yeah. Some people live just to play the game. Some people think that the physical things define what's within, and I've been there before, but that life's a bore so full of the superficial. Some people want it all, but I don't want nothing at all. If it ain't you, baby, if I ain't got you, baby. Some people want diamond rings, some just want everything, but everything means nothing if I ain't got you, yeah. Some people search for peer through windows, watch life go by, dream of tomorrow, and wonder why the past is holding me, keeping life at bay. I wander lost in yesterday, wanting to fly, but scared to try. But if someone like you found someone like me, then suddenly nothing would ever be the same. My heart would take me, and I'd feel so alive if someone like you found me. So many secrets I've longed to share. All I have needed is someone there to help me see a world I've never seen before. A love to open every door, to set me free, so I can soar. If someone like you found someone like me, then suddenly nothing would ever be the same. There'd be a new way to live, a new life to love. If someone like you found me, oh, if someone like you found someone like me, then suddenly nothing would ever be the same. My heart would take me, and I'd feel so alive if someone like you loved me. Loved me.
Thank you so much, Angeli. And last but absolutely not least, we have Aya Abraham.
I think that you know my heart, and you probably do. That's why I'm always with you. I could stay with you for hours and on empty room, and never get bored, never have nothing to do. You're my other half, that makes with me, what makes me smile. When I fall down, I can't get back up on my feet. Without you here, I am boring. Something inside you, is triggering. It makes me myself, makes me funny. You're a beautiful thing. We're a beautiful thing together, even when the weather is low. You're a beautiful thing. We're a beautiful thing together, even when the weather is low. We can find the rainbow up in the sky. You'd say, don't you cry, it's all gonna be alright. If we ever got into a fight, oh, that would be bad, 'cause you know all my secrets. But I know all of yours. We make ours in seconds together. The weight of the world feel like a feather, 'cause we're holding it right here in our hands. You're my other half, you're mixed with me. What makes me smile when I fall down, I can't get back up on my feet. Without you here, I am blind. Something inside you is sugar, and it makes me myself, makes me funny. You're a beautiful thing. We're a beautiful thing together, even when the weather is low. You're a beautiful thing. We're a beautiful thing together, even when the weather is low. We can find that. We'll take on the whole world, living our own dream world, you and me, forever. We'll forget what we have been told. We will take on the whole world, live in our own dream world, live in our own dream world. Without you here, I am blind. Something inside you is sugar, and it makes me myself, makes me funny. You're a beautiful thing. We're a beautiful thing together, even when the weather is low. That's a beautiful thing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Aya, and that concludes our children's music competition. Let's stay put, because we have some more speakers. And at 7 p.m., which is in approximately 10 minutes, we'll be having our children's parade, which is always super fun. So now we will have Donna Counts, who's going to talk about the Kentucky Resources Council.
Hi, I'm Donna Counts, and I represent Kentucky Resources Council. We are an environmental public interest law firm, I guess. We advocate for responsible environmental policies, and we represent individuals in the courthouse and in your local communities so that we can protect our air, water, and land, and make sure that it is there for all of us to enjoy. Since 1984, we've helped thousands across Kentucky secure protections. We've secured protections for Red River Gorge, for Pine Mountain, Black Mountain, and right now we're working to secure protection for Bernheim Forest, because Louisville Gas and Electric is trying to run a gas line through Bernheim. So we're representing them on that issue. So across Kentucky, we go before judges, local zoning boards, and government agencies to stand up for citizens and to protect the places we live and love. And by providing free legal services, we are able to remove the economic barriers to environmental justice. And I guess we care deeply about public land, in addition to environmental quality, and all the river and the wildlife that run through it. And in the next year or two, there are going to be some major decisions related to Daniel Boone National Forest and to Red River Gorge, and we will be watching those to defend Kentucky. You know, while our pro bono environmental defense work is like the core of what we do and always will be, we're actually looking at starting a new program, and it will begin this fall, where we're going to give citizens the tools they need and the expert help they need to have an impact on the government decisions that affect our environment, specifically permit reviews. There are thousands of permits issued every day, maybe day is a little extravagant, every month, to release pollutants into our air and water and on our land. But there's very little review of those. So we are going to lead a program to teach citizens how to review those permits and how to advocate for themselves. And then in those cases where the permits maybe are bad permits, try to advocate for change, or if we have to, litigate. And so that's what we do. We hope that you will join us and support us. If you're interested, I'll be tabling down here for a few more minutes. Sign up for our newsletters and you can learn how to get involved. And we're going to need volunteers, and obviously we're a nonprofit and we need money. So any way that you can help would be great. And I'd be remiss to say, not to say thanks to Kentucky Heartwood for having us here. We represent Kentucky Heartwood in some cases, and thank you all so much for coming out and supporting them. And hopefully you'll support all the like-minded environmental organizations here today, and together we can really make an improvement to Kentucky's environment. Thanks.
Next up, we have Kelly May talking about Frankfurt's energy.
Thank you all very much for having me out. My name is Kelly May. I'm one of the city commissioners here in the city of Frankfort. And I'm here to talk about a recent resolution that the city of Frankfort passed to reach clean, renewable electricity for city operations by 2023, by the end of the year. And through that process, we obviously realize there's those of us that are leading that charge that have an interest in it because we know it's the right thing to do, but need some expert opinions. So we reached out to NREL, National Renewable Energy Labs, that works with the Department of Energy, and have set up a contract with them. We are currently in our phase 1 operation with this program. In phase 1, the goal for us, the NREL scope of work, baselining and solution mapping for 100% clean city operations. Through that, we conducted initial interviews, we compiled data, we looked at high-level mapping of pathways, and moved on to task 2, which is development of pathways to 100% clean renewable electricity cost and benefit analysis. Task 3 was community clean energy analysis using the SLOPE and LEAD programs. We're looking at how we make this transition an equitable thing for everybody in our community. We know it's a big challenge. We're excited for that challenge, but we know we have to head that way. We've got to be progressive. We have to start looking at what we know will be coming down the pipeline and with regulations for federal governments, and making sure that we are ready and primed to maximize both the local benefit from an economic standpoint, as well as making a transition that works for everybody. At this point, the next step will be entering a phase 2, which we'll be discussing at our city commission meeting in August. We have had members of the NREL team down to the city of Frankfort already. They have come and looked at city operations, so they've been with, out to Frankfort Plant Board, looked at our water treatment facilities along the river, have started to compile data for specific properties that the city operates, and looking at how we can make that transition in the most effective way possible. For those of you that are interested in it, I would encourage you to continue to watch the City of Frankfort's website. and social media pages. We are going to put up a site that has all of the presentations and slide points that we receive as city leaders available for you all to resource as we go through this process. Continue to follow it. It's very exciting. We are headed in the right direction. We know this is important. Everybody that is standing here is standing on earth, and we know it's important that we take care of the place that we live. We need to focus on what we can do, not what we can't do. There will be big challenges. We're aware of that, but we're excited to lead them. And with your all's help and your all's participation, we're going to get there. We're very excited, and thank you for having us. And thank you for Kentucky Heartwood sponsors and everybody that helped today. Thanks for having me. We appreciate it.
And now we have Andrea Muller talking about why biodiversity matters.
Hello, everybody. Probably most of you know why biodiversity matters if you're here supporting Kentucky Heartwood, but I'm going to just talk a little bit about how biodiversity is the web of life, and it is essential for all of us, all animals, all humans, all microorganisms, and for a healthy and thriving ecosystem. So, let's see. Biodiversity ensures our health and underpins our global nutrition and food security. Millions of species work together to provide us with the food that we eat, our fruits, our vegetables, our animal products, and it is also essential to a healthy, balanced diet. But they are increasingly under threat. For example, the number of rice varieties cultivated in Asia has dropped from tens of thousands to just a few dozen. And so in Thailand, 50% of the land used for growing rice only produces 2 different varieties. So there's really not a lot of diversity there. We need diverse food systems to prevent diet-related diseases and to reduce the environmental impact it takes to feed ourselves. Biodiversity also helps fight disease. And of course, I'm a plant person. I love plants. That's what I do for a living. If we have all the same row of all the same species of trees, then of course, if one gets attacked, they all get attacked. But also, higher rates of biodiversity have been linked to an increase in human health. For example, plants are, of course, essential for medicine. And 25% of drugs in modern medicine are derived from rainforest plants. 70% of cancer drugs are natural or synthetic products of inspired by nature. And this means that every time a species goes extinct, then we miss out on a potential medicine, but also, more importantly, if a plant species goes extinct, then if an insect or an animal has co-evolved with that plant and relies on that plant, then that animal also goes extinct. So, second, biodiversity due to protected natural areas has also been linked to lower instances of disease, such as Lyme disease and malaria. So if there's more biodiversity, there's less disease. So here are some ways we can promote and preserve our local biodiversity, and 6 ways to make an impact locally. Support local farmers, and from local farmers to help keep the local dollars in our local economy, but also support agricultural efforts to conserve biodiversity. Obviously, organic is ideal, but I know a lot of growers who grow organically but aren't certified organic, so long as they are using integrated pest management or chemical-free gardening, they can also offer high-quality products. Save the bees and the keystone species. Bees and keystone species are important to preserving biodiversity, and you can help save them by planting nectar-producing wildflowers in your backyard and native plants that they have co-evolved with. So many of the insects have co-evolved with certain species, and they need those species and only those species to survive. Insects are, in fact, the little things that run the world. And they need healthy plants, which also need healthy soils. So now on to my favorite part is planting native plants. It is great to plant a variety of genetically diverse plants in your backyard. So I'm not totally against the use of cultivars because some cultivars were actually found in the wild. However, it is better to have genetically diverse plants. Which if they're grown from seed, they're genetically diverse. If they're cloned, they're not genetically diverse. By planting native species, you're helping to preserve the biodiversity in your area and for insects. You can consider planting some keystone or foundational species such as oak, birch, cherry, goldenrod, aster, and helianthus. Those are some of the main species that are foundational species that if you're going to plant anything, I would recommend having at least one of those in your garden. Pollinators such as birds, bees, and other insects are estimated to be responsible for 1/3 of the world's crop production. And without pollinators, we would not have, of course, apples and cherries and blueberries and all of the great food that we eat. Agriculture is also reliant on healthy soils. So trees, bushes, and wetlands, wild grasslands naturally slow down water also and can help reduce flooding, which of course we are seeing a lot of right now. And when it is removed, it can increase flooding. Trees and other plants also, of course, provide the air we breathe. And simply having green spaces and trees in cities have been shown to decrease hospital admissions, reduce stress, and lower blood pressure. So another way we can increase biodiversity is respect our local habitats. So the plants growing in the parks, the nature preserves, the forests, all play an important role in preserving our local ecosystem. So when you're outdoors and you're taking a hike, protect our local biodiversity by sticking to the walking paths or the trails and making sure that your kids and pets do the same. Okay. And then another easy way is to check the products you buy and the companies you support to make sure that your buying habits are not contributing to the destruction of habitats elsewhere. Look for labels such as FSC, Forest Stewardship Council, or Rainforest Alliance certified. Both organizations are committed to the conservation of Earth's resources and advocating for the human rights of the native people who inhabit the land and the many people, where the products are sourced. And lastly, support conservations and preservation organizations such as Kentucky Heartwood and Kentucky Resources Council and all of the other awesome environmental groups that are here. Kentucky Heartwood's mission of protecting Kentucky's forests and streams helps preserve biodiversity and gives us all a great world to live in. Thank you all.
Okay, third prize in the 8 to 12-year-olds, Riley Hibdom. Congratulations, great job. Stand up for your picture. And you can choose the color. Second prize is a $25 check from Kentucky Heartwood. And this year that goes to Olivia Fiala. Sorry, I said it wrong. Olivia, congratulations, great work. Come up and get your prize and stand for a picture. And first prize in the 8 to 12-year-olds, a $100 check from Kentucky Heartwood, plus this beautiful handmade vase. Stockton Stivers. Stockton, congratulations, great job. Okay, well, he has designated someone to accept the prize for him, so thank you very much. And give our best to Stockton. Nice work, you all. And now for the 13 to 18-year-olds. Third prize, a Kentucky Heartwood t-shirt, goes to Rihanna Browning. Good job. Nice work. Oh, Ryan, I'm sorry. The cookie vendor downstairs. Calling Ryan, third prize winner, cookie vendor's daughter. Okay, she'll come up here to get her prize. Second prize, a $25 check from Kentucky Heartwood. Seizai Kamayana. Congratulations. Nice work. Awesome. Get your picture. Wonderful. And now? And this is always true because you guys are all awesome. But the judges had such a hard time choosing because every one of you does a wonderful job.
I have our third prize winner. Third prize winner.
Yay, here's our third prize winner. Nice work. And now, first prize, a $100 check from Kentucky Heartwood, plus this beautiful vase. Is it Anya Martinez? Yes. Annually, sorry. Annually. Congratulations. So keep singing your songs. We need to hear your voice in the world. Thank you all so much.